about trading mindset strategies and what's actually working to help me as a beginner trader. I've been doing day trading for 4 months now, and well, in month four. And what has helped me to overcome some of the humps, the challenges, things like that. I just wanted to kind of share like where I'm getting these ideas from and how it's actually working in my favor. So, for example, I've had two red trading days back to back. Now, granted, back to back means Thursday was the last day I traded before today, Monday. I actually took Friday off, and I think that was beneficial because I just sort of felt burnt out a little bit. I did day trading every single day. I think it was like 10 days in a row or something like that, but minus the weekends. And I felt like I just needed a break from the computer screens. So I took Friday off, kind of just had a reset, took the whole weekend, of course, and came back today. And normally, if I'd had two red days kind of back to back, it would kind of set me off on like a spiral of like feeling bad, and I'm not feeling confident. And I'm thinking in the back of my mind, oh, well, what's day three going to be like? Like I'm starting up, two red days in a row. And right now, because of the mindset stuff I'm working on, I don't feel any of that, which is fantastic. So, who has helped me this far? Mark Douglas. I've been watching his lecture series on YouTube. It's like, I think it's 4 parts total. And forgive me, I can't think of the name, but if you just search his name, just look for like part 1 of 4, 2 of 4, or you can download my day trading resources, and I link, I think it's the 4th video in that. So you can just put your email in, get access to that. And Mark Douglas talked about doing things in a series of trades versus each individual trade meaning life or death. And that really helped change my mindset about like making a specific trade work. Because how stressed out do you get trying to like force a trade, and you're thinking of all the trades you messed up on and all the stuff you didn't do right on the last however many, but a lot of times you're thinking also the trade just before, and even if the trade just before was green, you might be overconfident. Trump, yeah, it's a Trump bump today. You might be thinking like, oh, I'm green, and you might take unnecessary risks because you're thinking of like the trade you just had and it was a winner. So for me, thinking in this series, and Mark Douglas recommended 20 to 25, so I decided on 20. And my first experiment of just going through 20 trades with a specific stop loss, a specific, set share amount, I was buying one. And then I learned a lot about my own system, my own processes, and basically, what's up, Derek? Yeah, talking about trading mindset strategies. I think the title is in there. I don't know. When you go live on YouTube on your phone, it's like you can't see all the stuff. So, but anyways, yeah, Mark Douglas for the win. I am just starting to read his book, The Disciplined Trader. But a lot of the value I've gotten from him has been from YouTube lectures. The other stuff that's working for me is reading other people's mindset and how they think and how they trade, and just sort of like, hey, maybe my situation's not so bad. And I'm reading Market Wizards, which is a really old book. I think this was like the guy interviewed a bunch of traders from, I think it was the 80s. He's updated it. Jack Schwager is how you say his name. It's been updated, but a lot of the traders he's interviewing, they are talking about trading back in the 60s, 70s, 80s. So yeah. But anyways, reading this book and getting into the mind of other traders who do this for a living, like professionals, right? Whether they're running, a big firm or they're just like individual people, it's helping me just enhance my perspective of like, oh, woe is me that I took this tiny little loss. And these people are talking about like, losing millions of dollars, right? Because maybe they have their own firms and they took bad trades and, they're down for a whole year, right? So what's up, Golib? And yeah, I think it's just helpful to have other people's like perspective, right? So you don't worry so much about how bad you're doing. The other one that's helping my trading mindset is the mental game of trading. This is Jared Tendler. And he talks about the emotional stuff. So, like experiencing greed, confidence, overconfidence, fear. Like when I first started running into challenges, the first couple of months I day traded, it was like I was doing pretty darn good. My win rate, my profitability was pretty good because it was very bullish back in November, December. You know what I'm talking about. It was a lot easier. And then when things got a little more challenging and I started realizing like, I gotta have stop losses, I gotta manage risk. And I started having some losers, it was like, oh, and then I started having fear of getting into trades, period. Thank you, Young. And it's like, okay, so you got all these things kind of going on, right? And you got worries about the trades you already did that didn't work out. You got worries about the next trade you're jumping into. You got worries about when to exit if you're even at a profit. and you got all this junk, right? Hey, Lucky Cat, it's a good book. All the coaches I know recommend it. Yeah. And I think it's relatively new, this one. I want to say he wrote it like 5 years ago, maybe less. 2021. Okay, 4 years ago. Yeah, so The Mental Game of Trading. What the other heck? I have something on my iPad. Actually, I don't have it handy in front of me. There was another book I kind of read. I think it was just the sample from Amazon. But there was another one I had read, and I was like, oh, this is good stuff. I will say, too, this is a little bit less of the mindset, but more about experienced traders that you can learn from. There's a guy named Mike Bellafiore, and he has 2 books out. I just bought one on eBay, actually. It's not the One Good Trade, it's the other one. I'm trying to think of what it was. The Playbook. So something that's helping me as well with the mindset stuff is having written down specific rules that's like, okay, these are my setups. This is the kind of like strategy I'm going for. I'm not deviating. I'm not jumping around. I'm not trying to trade Forex one day and stocks the next day. No. Like I'm in my lane. I'm doing stocks and ETFs. That's it. I know all kinds of people love futures. Good for you if you're doing futures. Like stick with what is working or that you know more of right now. Don't be like hopping all over the place, because I see this a lot where people think it's a FOMO, right? And that's another thing that comes up with trading, FOMO. You're looking at other people's success. You're like, oh, I should be in that too. And then it's like, shoot, you start something and it's so much energy to get going, right? So much learning curve to do day trading that I just don't think it's in a good interest to try to jump into different markets. Like stick with one that really resonates with you. That's what I did, because I always enjoyed looking at stocks. Like for many years, I was an investor, and then I'm like, well, let's get into day trading. And it's like it'll be fun, she said, right? And it has been, and I think that's why I even got to this point, was because like I told myself I was only gonna do stuff in my life that was fun and had the potential to make a lot of money. And this was before day trading even came along. This was just a decision that I made. And then next thing you know, I'm like, woohoo, day trading is in that lane, right? Yeah, stick with what works. It's better to specialize in one instrument and get good with it. Of course, I think that there's this idea too, and I don't really know what it comes from. It's not a FOMO thing. It's like I want to be a master of many things, like a Renaissance person. And in trading, I think when you're starting out and you're new and you haven't had like 5-10 years of experience, it doesn't really make a lot of sense to try to learn multiple things, because that's really how long it takes just to get good at the one thing, right? Like every success trader story I've watched on YouTube, it's pretty much like they took at least 5 years to get to where they are. And some of them are very successful, right? You're talking like multi-millions. But some of them are just like, yeah, I'm just popping out, living. I'm able to pay for my living. And I'm like, that is awesome, right? Just get to that level is key. I am not doing Forex, and I have some crypto for a longer hold, but I'm not trading either of those. I'm trading stocks and ETFs. Todd says, who's your mentor? I've had several through books and YouTube, and I put it all like in a Google Doc. You can see it in the description. There's a link to it. It's been a culmination because in the beginning I was swing trading, and then I kind of liked day trading, and I'm like, well, maybe I'll do a bit of both. And so that's kind of what I'm doing these days anyway. So I remember, I think the first guy I really followed was Stan Weinstein, and I read his book, Secrets of Profiting in Bull or Bear Markets, and I was like, what? You can like make money when the market's down? Like, I didn't even know about shorting. I was like, what is this? And then it kind of like freaked me out because I didn't want to have a margin account and everything. So then I learned about these ETFs, thank you ChatGPT, that you could go bearish on a stock. Like I trade TSLQ all the time, which is a short for Tesla. You can do NVIDIA, NVDS is a short for NVIDIA. Simon says, Forex is better, I think. What about you? I mean, I have zero experience with Forex. I have zero experience with futures. I've never day traded crypto. Like, I can't say like one's better than the other. I just know I'm having a good time trading stocks and ETFs because I come from an entrepreneurial background. I've been an entrepreneur for almost 10 years. So to me, like buying businesses, like just kind of aligns with my thinking, I guess. Sounds like you got your head and expectations in the right place. I'm rooting for you. Yeah, thank you. Appreciate you, Lucky Cat. Todd says, may I recommend Oliver Velez? Yeah, I think it might have been you in the comments. I'm not sure. Somebody did recommend him before to me, and I did watch a couple of his videos. He's very deep thinker, like very philosophical about trading mindset, and I like that. I will listen to him occasionally. Lately, I've just been going through and finding Mark Douglas videos. Rest in peace, poor guy. But yeah, just finding his lecture series, which the audio quality is not great because these were probably shot in like the 80s, 90s. But it's just so good. Like he's talking about deep stuff where if you come into the market and you have certain beliefs about whatever, you're bringing that to your trading. And for things to feel easy, for example, but your belief is making money is hard, you're bringing that belief into the marketplace and you're going to see it pan out for you. You're going to basically create your own story. And he gave it a really good example about a kid that had an experience with a dog, and the dog like attacked him, like tried to bite him, and the kid got all freaked out. And he said like every dog that he saw after that, he thought was going to attack him, right? It could have been the cutest little fluffy poodle or whatever, but the kid just had that experience like so ingrained in his mind that even if just hearing a dog bark would freak him out, and he didn't want to go outside, and he didn't want to, venture into the neighborhood in case there was another dog. And it's so interesting because it's like, if you relate that to trading and you've had a bad experience and, something bit you in the butt, for example, bad trade, you lost, whatever, and you're bringing that to each and every new trade. And so like what I've been doing, and I've been sharing my progress on this channel, is trading in a series, which Mark Douglas recommends. You have 20 trades. It's a series. You're not looking at each individual trade, but the goal is to stop bringing your baggage basically to each one and just see it as a fresh thing. It's a new trade. I have no history. I have no attachments to prior outcomes, or I'm not even expecting an outcome. He talks about like just not caring. And so when I started this stream, I said that I'm getting to this point where things that used to trigger me, like I'd get upset, like, oh, I had 2 red days in a row, what's wrong with me, right? I'd get upset over that. Now it's like, I don't care, because I've learned through these experiments I'm doing to trade very, very small. I was doing 1 share per trade for 20 trades. Now I'm doing 2 shares per trade for 20 trades. And because the losses are so tiny or whatever, it's like, okay, cool. Like I'm sort of numbing that emotional trigger that would have been there prior. So when you take away that sort of fear of losing money, and granted, these are small amounts, not like losing a lot, but I know that when I start to scale, it's going to be lesser of a issue for me just by backtracking and starting kind of at the beginning. Todd says, I traded concepts for 5 years on futures and I've made leaps and bounds. Nice. Well, good for you. Are you still doing the futures? Documenting your trades is a must to make data-driven decisions. Yeah, because you know what? If I didn't write things down as I was trading, like in the moment, I would miss so many cognitions, because you'll see it on some of my videos where I'm talking about it and I'm like, I don't have my notebook, but I'll have my notebook out and I'm like reading my note that I put in that moment. And it's something that I probably wouldn't have remembered unless I wrote it down. So some of the things I've written down, I'm like, oh, right. You know, like some aha moment, or like just a shoulda did this kind of thing, or good on me because I waited, you know, and took a little extra profit. You know, today I was in a trade and I remembered, you know, I have these new rules. Like, 'cause one day I didn't have a rule for an exit strategy and I made rules and I wrote them down. And I'm like reviewing the rules because I'm like, okay, I'm in the trade. I don't know when to exit. I don't have a clear sign of when to exit. I wanted a certain take profit. It's not happening. Should I get out now? Should I wait? And I'm like, Amy, remember your rules. And nothing in the rules said get out now. But then one of the rules was triggered. And I'm like, okay, well, if I think it's going to turn against me, and then the fear of loss kicks in because it's like, oh, you're losing that unrealized gain. I decided to just sell one of my 2 shares. And guess what happened? I made a small profit, and then I made a bigger profit because it moved up, of course, because I'm sure you've been in this situation where it's like you sell thinking you're at a high, and then it goes past you and continues soaring. Yeah. So I learned today, take some off the table, which I have done in the past when I first started day trading, but trying to keep it simple, you know, it was kind of like just sell things together. Now I'm like, hey, if the opportunity is there, why not, right? Take some off the table. Todd says, yes, futures every day. I print the charts out every day and put them in a binder. Oh, that's a good idea. Having actual like paper. Lucky Cat, yeah, no problem. Wish I could stay. Enjoy hearing your thoughts. Think you're doing great. Thank you. Yeah, feel free to catch the replay. Looks like you're in the 17-minute mark here. But yeah, any questions you guys have? You know, I kind of thought like to just share, you know, how I've made it 4 months in. Still have my capital, not like decimated. I made some trading errors doing swing trading like in the beginning, and I was taking small losses at the end of the year because I'm like, well, tax loss harvesting, you know, and so it's like I get rid of some of this. So yeah, I took some losses then, more so than I've actually taken with the day trades. Hey Rolex, and it was kind of just a like free up the funds kind of thing, because I wanted to use my Schwab Thinkorswim account as like my only day trading account, and then I have other accounts for investing in other brokerage. So yeah, I actually have lost more doing swing trades, but that's on me. You know, I could have held things and waited for things to turn around. I just wanted my capital, wanted my day trading money, darn it. So I'd have more funds available. And then speaking of like capital and around the mindset stuff, I had like more money in my day trading account than I needed. And I was like, you know what? Let's just put this in a savings account. You know, I put it in a high yield savings because I was not using it. And I'm like, if I was going to get caught up in something that I shouldn't be, the money's too accessible, right? It's too easy for me to get in too big or something. And I moved it out. So I basically halved my trading account money. But it's a lot, makes sense right now because I'm only trading like 2 shares. So I don't need a lot of capital. And I'm trading in a cash account, by the way. Todd says you're trading large caps, shares, options, small caps. Large caps, but through ETFs mostly. So for example, if I want to trade Tesla, I'll buy TSLR, which is an ETF, or I'll buy TSLQ. TSLR is the long, like, you know, you're thinking it's going up. TSLQ is the one that's going down. And there's a lot of those ETFs now for the big name stocks. I don't do options. I don't trade small caps. You know, maybe one day. I don't know. I day traded SoundHound. I don't know if that is, I think that's like a mid cap. I don't think that's a small cap. Yeah, I'm mostly in in just the US market, just the big names like Magnificent Seven. I've traded Apple, Nvidia, Tesla. What else is there? Amazon. Have I traded? Yeah, I've day traded Amazon. Meta. There's some ETFs for pretty much all of those now. Like Meta has METD, which is the bearish one. They also have FBL, which is the like, hey, Meta's going up. I traded that last week actually, and I think I got a green one on that one if I remember right. TQQ, SQQ. You know, I have not actually traded the indexes per se. Like I know TQQQ, that's the long, right, on QQQ, and then SQQQ is the short, if I remember right. I was gonna trade SOXS, which is an ETF that tracks like all the semiconductors, but sometimes they just don't move that much, and I kind of like, I'm more of a momentum trader, so Tesla is like my favorite thing to trade. Today was great. I ended the day on a small loss, but it was great because there was opportunities. Tesla was just like soaring and, just having a ball. Yeah, totally ripped today. And my video I just posted earlier today, that was the review of today's trades, and it's like, hi, you get into some situations where you lose like more than you can kind of make up for on the day. And it was nothing crazy. It was nothing outside of my trailing stop or anything like that, but trying to catch up, like, you know what I mean? Like catch up to where you even get to break even. That's what was the frustrating thing of today. It was just like, okay, no matter how good I am right now trying to catch up, it's just probably not going to happen. It's just like one bad loss, just you'd have to have that many more wins times 3 or 4. SMC or technical SMC. What is SMC? Rolex? I don't know. Basically the kind of trading I do is I like momentum, and I'm looking for sharp moves to the upside or the downside. So Tesla was great this morning, for example, and even at the close. I was actually trading at the close too, where you just see, bullish sentiment, candle after candle after candle going up. And, there's like little pullbacks and stuff. I look for like those kind of moves, and I'm looking kind of, my indicators are, the price action, like reading the tape. I'm looking at the MACD. I'm looking at kind of levels that I feel like are smart technical resistance levels, like the VWAP, the 9 EMA. Sometimes I look at the 20, kind of just trying to gauge where there might be halting, if that makes sense. And for me, I kind of like, let me get in and out. Usually like one minute trade up to maybe 10 minutes is usually my average time in a trade. But today I was kind of playing around with some things, and one of my trades I held for 4 hours. So it's like, okay, cool, this worked out. Let's consider this for the future. Because like I mentioned, when you get into situations, and this is like serious mindset thing. You get into a situation where you're red on the day, and you feel like I gotta make up for this. That's what gets you into trouble. Because then you're over trading, then you're revenge trading, and you're trying to focus on the money. So I kind of had to tell myself, like, get out of here. We're not worried about that. We're focusing on the trade. That's it. That's all that matters. What's up, Joey? What's your question? What's up, Diddy? Tesla had great bull flags. Yeah, I looked at the news, and first of all, I just expected that because the tariff stuff was a little loosey-goosey, and Trump's like, okay, we're gonna, just hold up, take our time, enforcing these tariffs. Everything was like, woohoo! Like there was just a sigh of relief this morning. You could see it in the pre-market. Actually, I saw the futures last night, and sometimes on Sunday night, I'll look just to see where the market might be heading. And it was green. I was like, okay, cool, and then it was like, about the tariffs. And then I think Tesla had, they had some good news, and I'm trying to remember, it was something, I don't know if it was like an investor, I forget what their good news was, but it was like enough to cause that stock to rip. Everybody's so, optimistic when that stock has good news. Like you can expect those days where it's going to go up 20 or $30. It doesn't take much good news to move Tesla up. Bad news, yeah, you better believe you're going to have the same downside. They're going to plummet real quick. Oh, smart money concepts. Okay, yeah. Order blocks. I don't know what FVGS is. No, you kind of talking about like order flow and stuff like that. I haven't studied that really. It intrigues me. I'm trying just to learn how to freaking read the level 2 and get better at that, and just kind of like, okay, sort of like train my brain to see numbers just flying at me. And then hopefully decipher in those numbers what that actually means for my trade. Because what I'm looking for when I look for these sharp moves up or down is I'm kind of looking for price action. I didn't realize this was how I was trading in the beginning, but when I had successes like in the first month or two of doing day trading, I was watching the ticker tape like a crazy person. And I didn't know that's what was kind of helping me, was to be aware, like when certain levels were tagged, like, oh, then you see it tags this, okay, but it comes back down, but it's going to come back up, right? It's just kind of learning how to read those numbers while simultaneously looking at the charts. That's kind of just where I'm at right now. It's like, let's not overcomplicate it. Like I got rid of the RSI indicator. I was like, this is not helping me. So really on my chart, I just have the 9 EMA, the VWAP, and the MACD. That's all I'm looking at. SMC trash. Yeah, I mean, I think there's so many like ways to make a profit, right? You can do all kinds of different things with trading. It's not like necessarily one is better than the other. It's like, what do you enjoy trading? What's fun for you? What do you actually get a kick out of studying? For me, the smart money concepts, like I get it in the sense of I get why people would want to trade like that. It makes logical sense. I just kind of like found this certain way of trading and I'm honing in on it. And just really my main focus right now is turning a profit over a loss, just getting to that point where the losses aren't outweighing the wins, in terms of actual bottom line dollars. So I'll have sometimes really good, like win rate ratios, but again, end of the day, we just want profit, right? We want to see that we're making money, not paying more money to play this game than we are making. Okay. Yeah. What is your question, Joey? Liquidity and fair value gaps move the market. Oh yeah. Yeah. Price action is a little bit old fashioned. I get it. Like there's all kinds of computer systems, high frequency trading, like all these things, algorithmic placing orders, all that sort of thing. I kind of just learned to go with the flow. Like a couple times I've kind of looked for reversals and tried to go when I thought things were reversing, and it just nipped me in the bud. And I'm like, okay, maybe reversals are not my thing. And sometimes I wait to see if, like, for example, if Tesla's going to cross a certain price. Like if it goes over 250 and it goes into 251, okay, cool. Like at least we know we could go to 255 without a lot of resistance, for example. That's kind of the stuff I look for. It's like just kind of psychological price points as well as technical data. Like if the VWAP is like 252, okay, I'm going to be aware of that. Like what happens when we get to the VWAP? Are we rejecting it? Are we going back, over it? Is it still going to 255? That kind of stuff is what's price action to me. It's not just like price action for the sake of it, but actual meaning behind it. And one of the books I read or am reading right now, I think it's called A Volume Guide to Price Analysis. It's sort of a technical book. And the girl that wrote it, she talks about like looking at the volume, right, for each move. So you see your bars on your chart and the price is, not moving much, check the volume, right? It's like just kind of one of these like obvious things, but when you're in the middle of a trade and you're just like, emotions are running high, you're not necessarily thinking about that. You're just like, oh, it's going up, right? But if the volume's not there to support the price going up, then guess what's going to happen? The sellers are going to come in. So where am I actually from? I'm originally from Virginia. and I currently live in Las Vegas. What's up, Orko? Green Day, woohoo! Amy did not make any money today. I actually had a red day. I explained it in the video I just uploaded earlier today. It was one bad loss. And I don't say like bad, like horrible loss. Unfortunately, it just was my max loss for that trade. And even though I had kind of like, I did 4 trades and 2 were green and 2 were red, I didn't make enough up by the end of the day to cover it. The other thing I learned was that I gotta watch these take profit levels, because say for example, when I short Tesla with TSLQ, that's a $50, $60 ETF. But if I want to go long, TSLR is a like $16 or $17 ETF. So when I kind of like mentally, I'm trying to stick to my trading rules of like, hey, go for at least $1 take profit, 75-cent trailing stop loss. I'm just doing these fixed rules right now as I kind of like hone in on my strategy. I'm kind of thinking like, you know what, this isn't playing out, because for TSLR, the cheaper one, to make $1 move, Tesla has to go like $6, $7, right? Whereas TSLQ only has to move, you know, a little bit in order to go either way. And so when I got stopped out this morning, TSLQ was my reason, and I'm like, okay, now to try to make it up with Tesla being up and being bullish, I just didn't have the chance. You know, I'm trading these small sizes. Obviously, I'm doing this 2 shares per trade strategy. And this is just to teach me fundamentals and rules and help me to get over mindset stuff. You know, help me to get over fear of losing money, help me to get over entering a trade, and then learning when to exit. Like, this is becoming my new focus. Like, I'm getting better about entry. I don't have the fear anymore of like getting into the trade or hesitation. But now it's the fear of getting out. Like, should I get out now? Should I hold on? I don't know. Do you guys have this issue? Like, which side of the fence are you on? Is it harder for you to enter the trade, like you're overthinking it? Or is it harder for you to exit the trade where you want to get more profit, but you're scared of losing what you already have or what you got? Rolex. No, I'm not single. I'm with a guy, but thank you. I think I got all you guys' questions. Yeah. So yeah, let me know. Like, is it harder to get in the trade mentally? Like, you know, you're worried about, did I get in at the right price? You know, am I in too late? Did I miss the move? Or is it harder for you mentally to know when to leave it? Because today it was like, okay, exercise patience. I tell myself this every time. Just wait, just chill, right? And today it just really was in my face that I gotta just get over this fear of giving back gains, because that's really what it is. I thought it was a patience thing. And then I did this trade where I held it for 4 hours, which I usually don't day trade like long periods of time. I'm usually like 1 minute to 10 minute kind of trade. And I held this one trade for 4 hours to see if it would play out and get a little more profit, which I was indeed correct, and it was Tesla with TSLR. And I just saw an opportunity. I'm like, okay, this is a good way to enhance my current strategy, and I think it's also a good way to increase the profits overall with my trading. You know, I'm looking for sometimes almost scalp moves in the morning, these quick movements and things. And now it's like, okay, but say you have a loss, like I did today in the first thing, and it took me, you know, like 3 more trades, and I still didn't come back up to break even. But in the future, now I have this like tool bag, like, you know, my tool in my bag of like, hey, Amy, why don't you pick a stock based on the technicals that you like to trade, but something that you could wait for that move to play out. You know, there's a couple of people I follow on YouTube that they do these longer trades, like Lambo Raul, the Swaggy C guy. They talk about like, just, you know, hold your winners. This is how you can win in the long run, I think, is you've got to learn to hold winners longer. And it's scary. Like it's like, oh, I don't know. What if it turns against me, you know? Rolex says, yeah, usually overthink before entry. Okay. Yeah, so that was my initial fear. And trading ridiculously small when I did my 20 trades of one share each. like I wasn't clearly going to be making any kind of crazy money or anything, but I wasn't going to be losing any crazy money either. And I learned a lot about what I was doing, how did my strategy work, what holes were in my strategy, where was my exit plan? Like I learned all these different things that came up doing those 20 trades, and it's really helped me create a foundation for myself. So Mike says definitely hold longer, but it is a bit scary. Yes. And it's funny because I'll have stuff on like a swing trade. Like I have a couple swing trades right now, like in my IRA. I've got one on Robinhood. And it's like, because I told myself it's a swing trade, I'm like, whatever, if it doesn't move for a couple days, like goes a little, red, who cares? To like take that mindset and put it into the day trading. I mean, granted, day trading, you're going to close everything out by the end of the day, of course, but it's like, how can you exercise that same like carefree attitude, but in the intraday? So kind of like, what can I learn from this, And some of the things I've noticed with like my swing trades is, sometimes I'll keep a chart up with my open trade, and other times, I'm like, oh, I'll check it one time during the day. Oh, where's it at? Okay, cool, whatever. It's not on my take profit. I've got my sell order, like, see you later. And if I can just get to a point with day trading like that, that would be wonderful. I think there's been a couple of occasions where I've tried to do that, and my stop loss is too tight to trade something like Tesla. Because, yeah, if you're trading these ETFs and you say you're doing like me, I have a 75-cent trailing stop. On TSLR, it worked today because that stock is only, that ETF is only like, like 16, 17 bucks. So for it to move 75 cents south backwards, it's a huge drop on Tesla. But if it's TSLQ and I'm saying I'm shorting Tesla, yeah, I can get kicked out 75 cents. That's a $60 ETF. So I'm kind of like, okay, maybe I just play around with the stop a little bit tomorrow. Keep it as a trailing because I think that's really saved me minimize losses, is using trailing stops. But just be willing to widen it a little bit. Mike says, I take 4 contracts, 1 or 2 come off at 15%, 1 more at 25 to 30%, then hold out 1 or at break even. Yeah, so contracts, that's Forex or futures, one of the two. Yeah, that's something I tried today too. And I hadn't done this since a couple months back when I was trading full sizes. But yeah, I'm like, okay, I'm trading 2 shares now. Woohoo, 2 shares per trade. So I could, when I get those panicky moments, I would just be like, okay, Amy, like check your charts, where's your indicators? Sometimes the MACD is sort of wavering and it's like, okay, start to curl, okay. Your price action, you can kind of see, it's coming down. And then I look for like those resistance levels as kind of my third strike. And it was a couple times today where it felt like right there, where it was almost hitting all 3. And that's when I was like, I'll just sell 1. Because peace of mind will automatically like kick in and I'll feel better unloading that 1 in case I'm, in case it really is going against me. Then I'm halfway in instead of fully in. And in both situations today where I sold partial, it actually went up in my favor. So I was glad that I only sold the 1. I didn't freak out. I was like, oh, sell all, market. I just was like, let me hold on to that extra 1. And so I was able to capture bigger profits on my other winners because of that partial taking. And that was, you said it, Mike, but you're doing it. I got that from Mark Douglas as well. And who was the other person I read? I think, Stan Weinstein, I mentioned him like in the beginning. His book, Secrets to Profiting in Bull and Bear Markets. And he talked about that. Now, he's more of a swing trader, but he talked about that too, like, taking partials or whatever. One of the things I remember hearing, I don't know who exactly said it, but they said sell into strength. And I'm like, okay. And sometimes I do. And then other times you watch your trade just like, continue strengthening as you're already gone. So that was kind of a relief for me to see how it played out today by doing the partials. Because I'm like, okay, I kind of sold on a pullback because I was like, oh no, it's going against me, But then I held that second share and did eventually sell into strength, And I think in most cases for the other trades, I was pretty close to the top, at least for that time frame. So, but yeah, guys, hope you got something out of this, with the mindset stuff. I think it all boils down to, one, everybody's different. Everybody's got challenges at different points in their journey. Like I've been doing this 4 months. It actually felt easier in the beginning, knowing less, because this odd conundrum of like, as you study and you learn and you're like, oh, I'm going to be good at technical analysis, you actually start to create more problems for yourself. Because then you're like, oh, well, this indicator and then this one. And, there was a point where my chart was too cluttered. I'm like, I got to get rid of some of this crap. And, the more you learn can actually hinder you with trading because it's such a mental game. It's like you start to question yourself. So, if you're in a situation like I was where you're fearful of entry, like don't even want to take trades because you're like worried about all the ones you just lost, like trade the stupidest, smallest amount you can. I went down to 1 share, whatever that's, 1 contract or whatever you guys trade out there. Just make it so small that you don't freaking care. Oh, Doug, thank you. Says I look like Scarlett Johansson. You're like the second person to tell me that, and I'm like, I'll take it. That's a nice compliment. I would take that all day, every day. But yeah, anyways, the mindset stuff. The books I had mentioned, The Mental Game of Trading, Jared Tendler, really good stuff. Especially on the fear stuff. That's been the best part in that book. And then I've been reading Market Wizards for perspectives of like other traders. So if you think you've had a bad day, read this book. Some of the stories are pretty shocking. Some of these people have had bad months and years. So this is the Karen Queen with the haircut. Karen Queen, I don't know. But yeah, and then anything you can get your hands on by Mark Douglas, whether it's a book or a video. And like I said, I linked the video that started this whole experiment of me doing these tiny little position sizes and doing it for 20 trades each, came from a video that I saw of Mark Douglas on YouTube. So you can see the Google Doc sign up for it. I basically just put in a Google Doc so I could come back and add other resources in my day trading thing. And that way I'm always keeping it fresh. Like, here's another person I'm following, or here's another book I've read. So if you're interested, feel free to check it out. And the image is mirrored. Oh, yeah, because of the phone. I'm on the front camera. I don't know, probably everything's backwards, right? The book. Sorry. It is called Market Wizards, and this one is Jack D. Schwager. You can find that on Amazon. And the other one, like I said, The Mental Game of Trading. Sorry, it's backwards. Jared Tendler. Yeah. So, all right, guys. Stay tuned. There'll be more on this channel. Feel free to go back and watch, what's been going on with these experiments I'm doing. I'm the guinea pig here. Feel free to, laugh, cry, join the fun. So I'll see you guys on the next one. Take care.